Hi, this is Coach Kemi, CEO and founder of How to Think Global Consulting Empire. I hope you are well this 9th day of January 2018. I hope you have been thinking differently so that you can do differently, so that you can get different results. I hope your different has not been, okay, it's just different, or you're just going to get 5 more than you've been getting before. I hope your thoughts have expanded, they have stretched, they have gone higher, they have gone deeper. I sincerely hope so. So I want to share a story with you that could have one of 4 titles. It could be Think Like a Beggar, Achieve Like a Wealthy Man. It could be It's How You Think That Determines Your Position, Not Your Situation. It could be Your Situation Is Not Your Position. And it could also be How to Smash Your Goals in 2018 within the first 8 days. Because I have smashed 4 of my goals in 2018 in the first 8 days. I think it was in the first 7 days because I just noticed only yesterday. You see, when you're having fun, you don't have time to do mundane things like count. You just know, like, you've done it. It's amazing. It's exciting. And as you achieve your goals, you run faster because you realize after you've done one, then you can do another. There isn't any feeling quite like it. So I want to share a story with you I found in the Bible. And it's the story of the 4 lepers. They were sitting outside, in the Hebrew time. If you're a leper in those days, you will be cast out. So you have your skin has turned white and is rotting, and they didn't know what to do to it. So these 4 lepers were sitting outside. Okay, so they sat there and there was famine and there was a war. But the prophet had already said, and they didn't know what the prophet said, look, things are going to get better. We're going to come out of famine, and things that were being sold for 1,000 naira or 1,000 pounds are going to come down like to 500 naira or 500 pounds. I'm just giving those examples, or $500, whatever. But there was one man that was very pessimistic. He said, is that possible? He said, he went as far as saying, even if God were to open a window in heaven overnight, you think things are going to change? Pessimistic man. And this was a man that the Bible says that the king was leaning on him. So he was somebody that spent time with the king. That means they had conversations. But I go further. Let's start from the beginning. So after Elisha had said that, the prophet, these 4 lepers decided to have a conversation out of thought. Your conversations always start because you've been thinking. You cannot have a conversation without first thinking. So they had thought about it and they said to themselves, why sit we here till we die? They said, look, if we stay here, we will die of starvation. But if we go into the enemy camp where they are, they might catch us and kill us. Then we will die. There you go. Or they might let us go free. But if we stay here, we are going to die. If they catch us and kill us, we're still going to die. But if they let us go free, then we'll live. Now, in that question, why sit we here till we die? They had 2 things. They had an option and they had an answer. Option, do we go in or do we stay out? Answer, let's go in. Many of you think, have the conversation, get to the point where you have to make a decision. You have 2 options or various options, but you stop there. You don't make a decision. You don't give yourself the answer. What next? And that's where the thought dies. That's where the opportunity dies. That's where whether you will live dies. Because you are already going to die sitting out there anyway. So every time you are going to have a conversation is a result of a thought. Every time you have a conversation and there is a thought, you have a conversation, you get to a point where you need to make a decision. Options exist. So what option is it going to be now? What option are you going to take? What answer, what decision are you going to make? That's the first thing. The second thing is they took action. After they gave themselves an answer, let's go in and find out. Because either way, we're going to die if we sit here. But let's go in and find out. Because they went in to find out, they found the enemy's camp was empty. The enemy had run away because God had made it such that they had some noise and they thought the Israelites were coming after them. So they ran away, leaving all their riches, all their horses, all their valuables, all their clothes, all their gold, all their silver. Everything was there. Of course, amazing. The lepers, they are lepers. Remember, they are lepers. They are sick. This probably one didn't have an arm and one didn't have a leg and one didn't have 2 arms or 2 hands. They went in there. They went into the first camp and they saw food and they saw riches and they ate their fill and took some of these things and went to hide. Went to the next tent, gold and oh wow, and food and they went to hide it. They've not had these things for years, so they went to hide it. They met no resistance when they got there. No resistance whatsoever. They took action, number 1. Number 2, and they met no resistance. How many times have you had the opportunity to make a decision only to go forward and realize that there was no resistance? Because we don't know what will happen. We are not God. We don't know what's ahead of us. But we owe it to ourselves to give ourselves a chance. Let me find out what is ahead of me. They got there and they met no resistance. Let me stop here and tell you that your own thoughts can resist you. You know you need to make a decision to move forward. But your own thoughts, yours, not the one nobody can give you a thought. You've got to decide whether you're going to think that way or not. Your own thoughts can resist you. They got there and they found what they did not expect. There was no resistance. They found stuff, they found clothes, they found silver, they found gold, they found food. They ate to their food. They took some, they went to hide it. Then the next stage is they were not selfish. There were 4 things they thought again before they had this conversation. They wanted to share what they had found with others. So there were 4 things they did. They said to themselves, look, we're not doing well. We know this thing, we have this. We're not doing well. This is a day to rejoice. We have found something amazing. That's number 2. Number 3, they felt that if they hid it from everybody, something bad was going to happen to them. Then they decided, let's go and tell the king. Now remember, lepers could not enter the city. So they stood at the gate and told who they could tell at the gate so they could take that message into the king. What do you do when you find something amazing? Don't you hide it? I was somewhere not too long ago, and just a short while ago, and I was not happy with the way certain people behave. And I was told that people just want to hide things. They want to hold things to themselves. Don't lie to yourself. Don't say, oh, you're not one of them. You share. Are you sharing your good fortune? Are you sharing the fact that you found this coach that works well? Are you sharing that you found this book that's good? Are you sharing that there are so many clients that need what you have? Are you sharing, if you are in the corporate space, that there is a vacancy going that you are also going for? Do you share that? Or do you keep it to your chest and think, oh, who says you're going to get it? So they told the king in detail what they had found. But guess what the king did? He told his subjects, his servants. He said, let me tell you what has happened. Now, they have brought him information. They had eaten. They were full up. They were probably wearing some of the clothes. They were looking good, talking with animation. This king did not see any of that. You know why? Because of who he was spending time with. The person he lent. The pessimistic one. The one that had no optimism whatsoever. Did not believe the Elisha, the prophet, that things are going to turn around, will be better, will be out of famine by tomorrow. And so what did the king do? He said, let me tell you what has happened. He gave them his own version of what he thought had happened in the camp. And he said, look, they've gone to hide. They know we will come because we are hungry, because there is famine. And then they're just going to come out and ambush us when we come into their camp. What kind of stinking thinking was that? That's the king. Be careful who leads you. Be careful who you are listening to, because they also are listening to someone. The king was listening to the guy he leans on. And that said, oh, it can never happen. Pessimistic so and so. Horrible, negative human being. You don't want to spend a minute with such people. And then, after the king said that, one of his servants, who was just as pessimistic, said, oh, you know what? Let's be cautious here. Let's just send 5 men to go and check. Send them with horses. So if they're going to ambush them, they'll ambush those 5 men. So they send them to their death. Pessimistic people are selfish. They will not take a chance. They will not take a chance. They will send you ahead. They say, you go and do it. Let's see. Let's see. You will fail there. Watch who you spend time with, because you will begin to think like them. So he was cautious. King was cautious. He had a companion who fed this kind of caution. Caution based on what? Stinking thinking. Not on the information that the lepers came to give him. So he sent 5 men ostensibly to their death. And he listened to the servant that suggested that to him. What was the next thing that happened? When these 5 people got there, they found that it was true what the lepers had said. There is food in abundance, money in abundance, clothes in abundance, horses and chariots in abundance. And they came back and told the king. But there's the last bit of it. How the pessimistic servant, the guy that the king was leaning on, ended up. He ended up dead. But the king trusted in him so much, he put him at the gate and said, you watch how things are happening, direct it when people are coming for food. They were so excited, they trampled on him, they ran over him, stampede. And he was stampeded to death. That's what happens to people who are pessimistic. People who have stinking thinking. They die, they don't enjoy the wealth ahead of them. Right in front of you is opportunity. Right in front of you are options. Right in front of you are decisions to be made. Around you and with you right now probably are men and women who you should not be found dead with, not to mention alive. This is how to smash your goals in 2018. The situation in which the lepers were did not determine their position. It is how you think that will determine your position. Your situation does not determine your position. You can think yourself out of that situation and reposition yourself in a better situation. Because you need a thought position before you can be positioned outside, and a thought posture before you can be postured in the right place. So don't sit down there giving excuses, reasons for why A, B, C, D. Your arm is lost, your arm is too short, you are female, you are in Nigeria, you are out of Nigeria, you are white, you are black, you are brown, you are Asian, you've never left the country. Be a leper. Get into the mind of the leper. That was amazing, powerful thinking. It wasn't their situation, not the state of their health. Are you listening? That determined how they thought. Your thought is independent of your situation, your health, your ability to think is independent. Even mental ill health does not affect your ability to think well, because it's a choice you make. I have found people, I have seen people fight to live. The doctor has called it, they have fought to live. Fight to think right. Fight to have powerful thoughts that will elevate you. Quit sitting down here and saying, why sit we here till we die? And not looking at your options and making a decision for one option. Taking action on it. Seeing the abundance that's ahead, right in front of you, and had been there since you were sitting outside the gate. Make a decision. I hope this has served you. I'm Coach Kemi. See you on Stay strong.